Hey guys, and welcome to another video that I'll be putting out in my Halloween series. This video is going to be looking at some of the essential music that I'll be listening to over the Halloween season. It is exclusively limited to the vinyls that I have. I did get a vinyl player about a year ago, so I have been collecting since then. It's just some soundtracks, albums, that sort of thing that really get me in the mood for Halloween. So I hope you guys enjoy. Let's kick it off. Starting then, first of all, this is not something I guess that you traditionally just listen to. It is the BBC Records and Tapes sound effects of death and horror. Now I managed to pick this up for I believe around £3 at a local record store, and it was an absolute steal. I mean, it's full of vintage spooky sound effects. It's absolutely perfect to put on Halloween night and just freak people out, I guess. So number two is probably one of my favourite covers of the vinyls that I have, is Waxwork Records release of the Reanimator soundtrack. Now it's an absolutely gorgeous release. I absolutely love everything that Waxworks put out. I do believe the vinyl is white and green, absolutely gorgeous vinyl, and I love the soundtrack and the film, so this was really good. You'll probably see quite a few Waxwork Records releases in here. Again, it's just something nice just to put on, maybe if you're just reading something, or I don't know, decorating, planning for a party, that sort of thing. This one is House by the Cemetery, and this is by Deathwaltz Records. Again, I love this soundtrack. I'm a huge fan of the film. I'm a big horror buff, so all these kind of soundtracks are kind of my favourite soundtracks from old films that I love to watch. This is just kind of normal listening to, I guess, and this is Sunlux, their vinyl. So on here we have Easy featuring Lord A and Lost It to Trying, two of my favourite tracks that Sunlux have done. When I picked this up, I wasn't expecting it to be actually this cool inside, but the vinyl is pure white, probably blowing out because of the light. Again, super cool to listen to. Okay, so this one is actually a soundtrack from one of my favourite films. I managed to catch this in a local film festival a couple of years back and absolutely fell in love with the soundtrack, so when I saw this in again another local record store, I just had to have it, and this is Kiss of the Damned. Now I mean, the artwork on its own is absolutely lovely. It's a really kind of hipster soundtrack. This was kind of one of those films that really made it cool to be a vampire, and it's not as intense as a normal soundtrack, so you can kind of listen to it and just chill out a little bit. So probably one of my favourite soundtracks of all time, and a film that I actually managed to catch in the cinema earlier this year, is It Follows. So I managed to pick up this vinyl. I ordered this, well, I pre-ordered it as soon as I realised it was coming out on vinyl. Again, this is really intense and spooky. If you haven't seen the film, I definitely recommend it. This came on a blue vinyl, so again, a super cool release. I do believe it was limited, so I was really lucky to get my hands on one of these. If you do have a vinyl player and you do love horror films, I would suggest getting this. It's very good. So this was something I was excited about as a John Carpenter fan and as a horror fan. Earlier this year, John Carpenter released his album, which I have on CD as well, called Lost Themes. So it's just essentially a compilation of soundtracks that he would have loved to have made for films that he hasn't yet made. It's absolutely fantastic to listen to. I always find, especially being a filmmaker, listening to music inspires me and makes me think of scenes that I could possibly create. It is intense in places, I guess, and not something you could necessarily chill out to. But if you want something a bit spooky, then definitely go for that. Okay, so again, we've got another Waxwork Records release, and I literally cannot get enough of this vinyl. This is the Creepshow vinyl. I do believe I got it in the Spaceship edition. That's quoting Stephen King. It's a green vinyl. It comes with like art and a free booklet and everything. It's probably one of the best put together vinyl releases I've ever seen. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous, and it is fantastic. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the film, and I think the score itself is just perfect for this time of year. It's just nice and 80s and synthy and just horrific. It's brilliant. So yeah, definitely recommend that. Totally fangirling on Waxwork Records right now. But this is the Trick or Treat vinyl. This is actually a really cool release as well, as it not only comes with the soundtrack, you also get another vinyl with free haunted sound effects on, all to kind of fit in with scenes in the film. It's absolutely brilliant. The artwork is stunning. I'm a huge fan of the film, and I just, yeah, absolutely love this vinyl and everything about it. This is regularly on at this time of year. Actually, even when it's not Halloween, I do kind of like to listen to this. Halloween would not be Halloween without listening to the actual Halloween soundtrack. Now, this is actually from Halloween 2. I am trying to save the pennies to get the Mondo release of the Halloween soundtrack, which is why I haven't got it on vinyl just yet. So this is a little bit more electronified than the traditional soundtrack, but again, a lovely release. Came with a poster that's actually up in my other room in my study. It's just lovely, and this is perfect to be putting decorations up to, and it really gets me in the mood. If I'm not watching the film, I'm listening to the soundtrack. So the final Waxwork Records release, and the final horror kind of soundtrack, I guess, would be Friday the 13th. Again, love the artwork, love everything about it. I haven't invested in part 2 on vinyl, just as I kind of didn't really dig their release of it that much, which was surprising. Again, another nice chilling soundtrack if you just kind of wanting to freak yourself out a little bit or just chill out. And final bit for in terms of music, which was an absolute steal, I managed to actually pick up an original copy of Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. Now, since watching American Horror Story Coven, I hate to say that is kind of how I got into it. I've been absolutely obsessed with all things Fleetwood Mac and Stevie Nicks. I was really lucky earlier this year. I actually got to go see Fleetwood Mac with my girlfriend in Birmingham, and it was absolutely fantastic, and I do believe it was the last time that they were touring, so I feel incredibly lucky to have got to see them live. But I managed to pick up Rumours, which in my eyes is their best album. It features some of the best songs that I think they've ever put out as a group. It isn't just limited to Autumn, but I feel kind of with the American Horror Story connection, it's appropriate. I love listening to this. It's absolutely fantastic. Probably one of the best albums I think I've ever had the pleasure of listening to. Okay, so that concludes it for all that I'm recommending in terms of listening to with vinyls and such this year for Halloween. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope if you are a horror fan, you kind of dig some of the things that I'll be listening to over this period. If you did like the video, please remember to like and leave a comment below, and if you want to see more, just let me know. But thanks for now, and enjoy Halloween.